Right now, stitched into the tag of the shirt you are wearing is a completely hidden history. Welcome to the deep dive. I'm your host.
And I am your resident industry expert, ready to pull back the curtain today.
Because, we tend to think of our clothes in terms of just like cotton and thread.
Right. Or maybe just a specific designer you like.
Exactly. But underneath that physical layer, the garments sitting in your closet are the byproduct of SEO tags, algorithmic trend forecasting, and, well, a globe-spanning logistical empire.
It really is a brilliantly disguised ecosystem. I mean, the sheer scale and speed of the machinery required to just put a basic garment on a hanger is staggering.
Which is why we are diving deep into a massive industry document today. It's titled From Runway to Retail: How a Fashion Collection is Born.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating look at the whole architecture of the apparel industry.
Totally. And what stood out to me wasn't just the technical schematics of how the clothes are sewn, it was the metadata.
Oh, the hashtags.
Yes. Tucked into the digital framework of this data were these bizarre, behind-the-scenes hashtags like hashtag Apparelizer and literally hashtag masterstevemind.
Seeing those tags embedded alongside standard supply chain data is just a surreal reminder,
Right.
Every physical piece of clothing today is tethered to this relentless digital content machine that's just fighting for clicks. The garment itself is only half the product.
And the data it generates is the other half.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to deconstruct this high-stakes life cycle. We want to give you, the listener, a shortcut to understanding the modern fashion industry.
Right, breaking down the mechanics so you can completely transform the way you view your own wardrobe.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Take us to the very beginning, the blank page. Because a fashion collection doesn't actually start with clothing, does it?
Not at all. It starts with an abstract gathering phase. It's a pure distillation of inspiration.
Like a mood board.
Yeah, designers are actively trying to translate the zeitgeist into a tangible mood. They are pulling ideas from brutalist architecture, social movements, maybe obscure 1970s cinema.
Wow. Or just nature. Right.
Exactly. The goal is to build this massive atmospheric framework with raw color palettes and early fabric swatches before a single sleeve is ever sketched.
Creating a fashion collection sounds exactly like producing a music album.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. Because you can't just have a bunch of random good songs. Your dresses, your jackets, tops, footwear, they all have to sound like they belong on the same record.
That is a perfect way to put it. They have to tell one cohesive story.
Whether you are a luxury house looking at the high art movements of Paris and Milan, or like a streetwear brand pulling from urban youth culture.
Right, or even a sustainable label focused strictly on eco-conscious materials. That cohesive story is the collection's DNA.
Makes sense.
But translating that abstract album concept into a physical reality requires a hard pivot into structural engineering.
Moving from the flowy sketches to the technical drawings, right? The flats.
Yeah, the flats. They map out the silhouettes, color, and fabric textures.
Let me push back on this obsession with the flat, though. Is a flat really that different from a regular sketch?
No, completely different.
Because in an era where designers have highly advanced 3D rendering software to visualize everything in a virtual space, why rely on a two-dimensional schematic? It feels a bit like designing a modern skyscraper with a charcoal pencil.
Well, the 3D render is for the eye, but the flat is for the math.
Oh, okay.
A manufacturer on the other side of the planet cannot program an automated cutting machine with a 3D render of a vibe.
Right. They need hard numbers.
Exactly. The flat provides the geometric coordinates. It dictates the exact seam allowances, the tolerance for fabric stretch, and the specific millimeter placements for zippers and buttons.
So without that blueprint, a pattern maker has zero mathematical basis to build the garment.
None at all.
But you can't weave a digital flat into a physical shirt.
Very true.
To actually build this blueprint, you have to navigate one of the most complex supply chains on Earth, which is material sourcing.
And sourcing teams are playing a massive game of three-dimensional chess. They aren't just picking out nice-feeling cotton or silk.
They're looking at a bunch of fabrics, right?
Yeah.
The source mentioned linen, wool, denim, polyester blends.
Yes, and they are evaluating those textiles based on the physics of the drape, long-term durability, and crucially, supply chain viability.
Meaning, can we actually get this fabric 12 to 18 months from now?
Exactly. If a designer specifies a unique recycled polyester blend, the sourcing team has to guarantee that specific textile can be produced at scale.
And uniformly dyed.
Right, and delivered to multiple factories simultaneously without a drop in quality. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, sustainability is no longer just a niche trend.
It's basically the standard now.
Exactly. The source brings up modern brands like Apparelizer, which focus heavily on eco-friendly production and recycled fabrics. They are reverse engineering their designs based on what sustainable fabrics can actually do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But once you have the blueprint and the fabric, you hit what seems like the crucible of the whole process, the sample stage.
Yes. The sample is the first time the mathematical theory of the flat meets the physical reality of the fabric.
Wait, are samples really that big of a deal?
Oh, they are critical. Designers and technical fit specialists review these prototypes with microscopic attention to detail.
But with modern technology, can't they just go straight from the flat to mass production to save money? I mean, 3D physics simulation has to be good enough to show how denim drakes by now, right?
You would think so. But the issue is microtensions and friction. Software is incredibly advanced, but it still struggles to perfectly replicate how a specific linen blend interacts with human sweat,
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
or how a seam might subtly torque when a person twists their torso. Skipping the physical sample stage is a gamble with catastrophic financial implications.
Because if you mess up, you're stuck with it.
Right. If you bypass the prototype and manufacture 10,000 units based purely on a digital simulation, and the collar sits half an inch too high and irritates the neck.
You now have 10,000 unsellable shirts.
Exactly. It's the ultimate reality check.
Right. You cannot issue a software patch for a bad physical fit.
Precisely why fashion houses will iterate on a single sample 3, 4, or even 5 times. Those millimeter adjustments make or break the final retail appeal.
So you iterate until the sample is flawless. But a perfect garment sitting in a design studio doesn't really move the economic needle.
No, it doesn't.
You have to make the world care about it before you fire up the mass production lines. Which brings us out of the factory and directly into the hype machine.
The runway presentation.
Right.
Historically, this was dominated by the Big Four, which are Paris, Milan, London, and New York. And these shows are highly strategic, intensely choreographed events.
The audience isn't just wealthy clients anymore.
Not at all. It's a meticulously curated room of retail buyers, global media, influential fashion editors, and celebrities.
They use it to predict retail demand and establish brand identity.
Yes. But what's fascinating here is the shift in power.
How so?
Well, viral social media moments on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest can now instantly shape consumer demand worldwide. The Big Four used to hold a monopoly on what became popular.
Now, a 10-second clip of a jacket can generate 10 million views overnight.
Exactly. And that digital virality provides instant, quantifiable data to the retail buyers sitting in the front row. They are watching the engagement metrics spike in real time.
But here's where it gets really interesting to me. I want to push back on the economics of the traditional runway.
Okay, go for it.
Is an elaborate, multi-million-dollar runway show actually about selling those specific avant-garde clothes?
Yeah.
Because half the time, the garments look completely unwearable for everyday life.
That's a fair point.
It just seems like an incredibly expensive billboard for a product nobody's going to buy.
You are identifying what the industry calls the halo effect.
The halo effect.
Yeah. The primary function of an avant-garde runway show isn't to sell a $10,000 sculptural dress. The function is to establish a powerful brand identity that trickles down into consumer consciousness.
Ah, so it sets the vibe.
Right. That unwearable dress generates the media cycle, which creates the cultural aura. And that aura makes the consumer eagerly buy the brand's accessible logo t-shirt or their perfume.
It cements the lifestyle. But hype without inventory is just a missed opportunity.
Exactly.
If a TikTok of your new collection goes absolutely viral, how do you actually make thousands of these garments? You only have that one perfect sample.
This is where the creative fantasy slams directly into massive industrial logistics. The pivot from design to large-scale manufacturing requires coordinating a literal army.
We're talking fabric cutting, sewing, finishing, quality control.
Yes, and it has to be mathematically optimized to minimize waste. Plus, you have packaging and shipping across multiple global facilities.
And the approach to this nightmare varies wildly, right?
Yeah.
You have fast fashion brands that prioritize speed above all else.
Right. They compress the timeline from a trending design to a finished product into a matter of weeks using nearshoring.
While luxury labels operate on a completely different temporal plane, they lean heavily on craftsmanship, which slows things down.
Regardless of the velocity, the operational complexity is just staggering. They are balancing labor, raw material delays, inventory control.
And while the physical production is happening, the digital marketing machine is running at full capacity.
Oh, absolutely. Influencer collaborations, email campaigns, editorials, all building anticipation.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, when you actually pull out your credit card? It means the final stage of this journey has mutated into a retail multiverse.
The industry calls it the omni-channel experience.
Right. And omnichannel doesn't just mean a brand has a physical boutique and an e-commerce website. It means the inventory brain is completely interconnected.
The system is designed to track and anticipate consumer behavior across every possible touch point.
Exactly. You could use a virtual fitting tool on a mobile app on Tuesday, walk into a physical store on Thursday to feel the fabric, and the system knows you didn't buy it.
So on Friday, it retargets you with a highly specific social media ad featuring an influencer wearing that exact garment.
Consumers just expect all these digital and physical universes to be flawlessly linked now.
Connecting the runway aesthetics to that seamless retail experience is the baseline for survival. But there is a newer, far more potent tool being deployed.
Which is?
Supply chain transparency as a core marketing asset.
Oh, interesting. Because historically, the factory floor was a heavily guarded secret. Brands wanted you to believe the clothes just magically appeared in a pristine boutique.
Right, but modern consumers demand authenticity. They want to verify the behind-the-scenes processes. So brands are turning their logistics into content.
Like showcasing the specific facility where things are cut or detailing ethical labor standards.
Yes, documenting the journey of recycled materials. This transparency builds profound brand equity. The manufacturing process itself has become a marketing tool.
So, if supply chains are becoming fully transparent and fitting rooms are turning into virtual data harvesting tools, where does this globe-spanning machinery go next?
Well, the blank page we started with is being fundamentally rewritten by technology.
We're talking artificial intelligence, 3D design software, virtual fashion shows, smart textiles.
Yes, but specifically algorithmic trend forecasting.
Let's unpack the AI trend forecasting, because it sounds like science fiction. It's like having a crystal ball that doesn't just tell you what the future looks like, but actually knits the sweater for you.
It really is wild.
Instead of a visionary designer organically spotting a new underground youth culture, an algorithm is predicting what we will want to wear 12 months from now. How does that actually work?
It works by ingesting an incomprehensible volume of data. These AI systems are scraping billions of data points simultaneously.
Like what kind of data?
Global social media sentiment, search engine query spikes, historical sales data, macroeconomic indicators, even subtle shifts in pop culture color grading. The AI synthesizes all of this noise to identify micropatterns.
So it can predict a surge in demand for, say, a specific shade of olive green long before human forecasters even have a name for the trend.
Exactly. It maps the cultural shifts before they happen. And brands that understand this, like Apparelizer, represent an entirely new generation of businesses.
They are moving away from the myth of the lone genius with a sketch pad.
Right. They are actively blending human creative direction with this massive influx of predictive data. The designer's role transitions from purely inventing a concept to curating the algorithm's predictions.
It's a fusion of data science and aesthetic intuition.
Beautifully said.
Which brings this entire massive journey right back to you listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Think about the shirt or the jeans you are currently wearing.
It's almost dizzying to comprehend.
It really is. It started as an abstract mood board pulling from art and architecture. It was mathematically engineered into a technical flat. It survived a rigorous sample phase.
Just to get the seams right.
Exactly. It was thrust down a high-stakes runway, generated viral TikTok data, traveled through a global supply chain, and ended up in your highly targeted omni-channel shopping cart.
The garment on your back is the physical manifestation of one of the most dynamic, fast-paced logistical systems in human history.
It represents countless hours of research, creative problem-solving, and digital strategy.
It does, but understanding this immense capability raises an important question for you to mull over.
Lay it on us.
If AI systems